Watch her, wife. Back up, back up, back up. Put your hands back.
29-year-old Southfield man charged with second-degree murder in the shooting death of a transgender woman.
Victim had no vitals, no pulse, and suffered a single gunshot wound to the right side of the head.
This should be a wake-up call for us all. It's us now, but when we're picked off, you're next. You have a demographic or a population whose lives have no value.
On February 9, 2025, Jamal Broom, a 29-year-old transgender woman from Cleveland, Ohio, was found unresponsive with a gunshot wound to the head in a parking lot in Southfield, Michigan. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities have charged 28-year-old Robert Louis Ridges III of Southfield with second-degree murder, carrying a concealed weapon, and using a firearm during the commission of a felony. Investigations revealed that Ridges had contacted multiple sex workers, including Broom, prior to the incident. He was apprehended approximately 11 hours after the shooting at the MGM Grand Casino in Detroit. What deadly happened that night? Let's see in the video. Before we begin the story, we want to take a moment to extend our heartfelt condolences to the friends, family, and loved ones of Jamal Broom. This devastating loss has left an irreplaceable void in the lives of those who knew and cherished her. This is the tragic story of Jamal Broom, also known as Tahari Broom, a transgender woman who was brutally shot and killed while providing escort services to a closeted man named Robert Ridges. After their sexual encounter, Robert made a shocking decision. He couldn't risk anyone discovering his true sexual orientation. Fearing that Jamal might expose their interaction, he chose to silence her permanently. Witnesses later reported hearing the two arguing before a gunshot rang out, leaving many questions unanswered for the police. Investigators struggled to determine the exact cause of the argument that led Robert to pull the trigger. Jamal Broom, 29, was originally from Cleveland, Ohio. She was born male but embraced her identity as a transgender woman, taking the name Tahari Broom. Becoming a part of the LGBTQ+ community brought her immense happiness, fulfillment, and a sense of belonging. She was known as a down-to-earth person, kind, intelligent, and someone people naturally gravitated toward. Jamal Broom was a determined and independent woman who sought multiple ways to support herself financially. She initially started an OnlyFans account, which provided her with some income. However, she wanted to expand her earnings, so she made the difficult decision to work as an escort. Through this work, she provided companionship and services to clients both in her local area and in different cities. On February 9, 2025, Jamal traveled to Detroit, Michigan for an out-of-town client. Like many other escorts, she advertised her services online, hoping to attract business. That night, she received a call from 28-year-old Robert Ridges. What she didn't know was that before contacting her, Robert had already reached out to 33 other black escorts. He ultimately decided on Jamal, and they arranged a meeting. What happened after they met remains uncertain, but at some point during their time together, Robert realized that Jamal was a transgender woman. Instead of walking away or handling the situation rationally, he became enraged. Whether it was due to personal shame, fear of being exposed, or deep-seated prejudice, Robert saw Jamal as a threat. In a moment of panic and hatred, he made a horrifying decision. He pulled out a gun and shot her. Jamal's body was discovered after someone reported seeing an unresponsive person lying face down in the snow.
29-year-old Tahari Broom, a transgender woman from Ohio, was shot and killed Sunday morning.
By the way, we post true crime stories and strange cases. If this interests you, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support means a lot and helps us continue sharing this content. When police arrived at the scene, they found her lifeless body with a fatal gunshot wound to the head. Detectives quickly launched an investigation, determined to find out who was responsible for this brutal crime. Through their efforts, they were able to trace the murder back to Robert. A search of his apartment revealed crucial evidence, including the firearm used to kill Jamal. However, by the time authorities pieced everything together, Robert had already left his home. They eventually tracked him down to the MGM Grand Casino in Detroit, where they arrested him.
Put your hands back. I got hands.
What was supposed to be a routine business trip for Jamal turned into a nightmare, one that ultimately cost her life. Police later held a detailed briefing on the case. Her family was left heartbroken by the tragic loss of Jamal. They mourned her deeply, struggling to come to terms with the cruel and senseless nature of her death.
It's really like it got my whole family in like a uproar. Like it's like one of those things, like you don't know what to feel. Like you want to be angry, you want to be sad, you want to cry, you want to scream, like you want to do. It's a big ball of emotion. Like you just want to know why. Like why'd you do that? Why do you feel like she deserved for that to happen? You know, and then that way and that magnitude. Being that they caught him, that brought some peace. Um, but it's like it don't take away the pain. Funny, smart, like one of those people that could walk into the darkest room and find some light in it. It didn't mean that that person was a bad person. She was never a bad person. She's shining a light that's gonna shine forever and ever and ever and ever.
She was not just a victim of violence, she was a beloved daughter, friend, and member of her community taken far too soon. Detective Chief said, "I spoke to Jamal's mother. Obviously, she was emotional after losing a child in such a violent and gruesome manner. I made her promise that I would refer to her daughter by the appropriate pronouns she and her in my remarks." He also said he promised Broom's mother that even though her daughter's job was not legal, it would not be the focus. No matter what line of work Jamal was in, this shouldn't have happened.
Victim had no vitals, no pulse, and suffered a single gunshot wound to the right side of the head. Hate crimes are real, and I'm actually glad you brought that up because this is something that we're still reviewing. Go by the evidence, it suggests that he sought after both black females to include the transgender community. This shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't have happened.
Her family mourned her deeply, grappling with the pain of losing someone they cherished. Jamal had a warm spirit and an infectious energy that drew people to her. She was known for her kindness, intelligence, and ability to uplift those around her. Those who truly knew and loved her are left not only with grief but with an overwhelming sense of injustice. It is imperative that justice is served in this case. The person responsible for this heinous act, Robert Ridges, must be held fully accountable for his actions. If he wished to keep his personal life private, there were countless other ways to handle the situation without resorting to violence. In today's world, there is absolutely no justification for harming someone out of fear, shame, or internal struggles. His decision to take Jamal's life was not only cowardly but also an act of pure hatred, one that has caused irreparable pain. Jamal's absence will be felt deeply by her family, friends, and everyone whose lives she touched. She was a person who deserved love, respect, and the right to live her life without fear. Her death is a reminder of the dangers faced by transgender individuals, especially those working in vulnerable industries. As we remember Jamal, we extend our sincerest condolences to her family and loved ones. We stand with them in their grief, hoping that they find strength and that justice is delivered. No one should ever have to suffer such a fate, and it is our collective responsibility to fight for a world where tragedies like this no longer occur. A 17-year-old high school student from Durham, North Carolina, who was brutally murdered in March 2015. She was last seen leaving school, and her body was later found near an abandoned house with multiple stab wounds. Her ex-boyfriend, 17-year-old Kelton Fox, was arrested and charged with her murder. Investigators found surveillance footage of Fox following Tiara after school, and her blood was discovered on his clothing. Additionally, he left a chilling message on social media before the murder. On March 27, 2015, should have been an exciting day for 17-year-old Tiara Hall, a bright and charismatic high school student from Durham, North Carolina. It was the last day of school before spring break, a time most students looked forward to as a break from exams, assignments, and early morning alarms. Like any other morning, Tiara got ready for school, walked through the halls of Jordan High School, talked with her friends, and made plans for the week ahead. But Tiara never got to enjoy that break. That afternoon, when the final school bell rang, she walked out of Jordan High for the last time. She never made it home. Earlier that morning, Tiara and her mother had a small argument. It was nothing major, just one of those everyday disagreements between a teenager and her parents. By the time Tiara left for school, the tension had already faded. She and her mother even shared a hug before she walked out the door, not realizing that it would be their last goodbye. Throughout the day, Tiara's mother tried to call and text her several times, but there was no response. At first, she assumed that Tiara was either ignoring her messages or still upset about their earlier disagreement. But as the hours passed and there was still no sign of her daughter, that initial annoyance turned into worry, and then into outright panic. By the next morning, her worst fears became a heartbreaking reality. On Saturday, March 28, 2015, a local man and his girlfriend were walking near an abandoned house in Durham when they noticed something unusual. At first, they thought it was just a young woman lying on the ground, maybe sleeping. But when they got closer, the horrifying truth became clear. Tiara was dead. Her body was covered in stab wounds, her lifeless form discarded like she didn't matter. The gruesome scene painted a picture of brutality and rage. Nearby, police discovered her phone case, a school hall pass, and something even more chilling. A message scrawled on the wall in dark, ominous handwriting. King K the Savage. For Tiara's family and friends, the news was devastating. She had been full of life, a young woman with dreams, ambitions, and a future ahead of her. And now, in an instant, all of that was gone. The question that haunted everyone was, who could have done this? And why? Tiara's mother's world shattered the moment she learned the truth. The heartbreak of losing a child in such a violent way is something no parent should ever have to experience. Her voice trembled as she recounted the moment she realized her daughter would never be coming home. And now the search for answers had begun. When 17-year-old Tiara Hall was found brutally murdered, detectives had no immediate suspects. With no clear leads, they had to dig into her life, relationships, and daily interactions to uncover any potential enemies. What they found instead was a young woman full of life, with big dreams and a bright future ahead. Tiara was known for her infectious positivity, natural charisma, and strong ambition. She had plans to study business after high school, hoping to build a successful career. But all of those dreams were cut short, and the reason why led investigators to one person, Kelton Fox. On the surface, Kelton Fox seemed like the ideal boyfriend. He was polite, well-mannered, and respectful, the kind of guy who made a good impression on parents and teachers alike. Even Tiara's mother thought highly of him, remembering how he always shook her hand and spoke with courtesy and respect. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
They told me my baby was dead. I could not believe that. I would not believe that. And then I started seeing pictures being posted everywhere of my baby. Nobody's telling me anything. I don't know anything. It's agonizing. I know nothing. Somebody does. And I want them to come forward. Because if it was your family members, you would want the same thing. I just do not understand.
That was Kelton, charming, polite, and seemingly harmless. But beneath that polished exterior, there was a much darker side, one that few people, including Tiara herself, realized until it was too late. By December 2014, Tiara had decided to end her relationship with Kelton. To her, it was a simple decision. He was too clingy and she wanted to move on. Like many teenagers, she was learning what she wanted in a relationship and knew that Kelton wasn't the right fit for her. To most people, a breakup is just part of growing up, something difficult but ultimately normal. But for Kelton, it was more than just heartbreak. His obsession with Tiara ran much deeper than anyone had realized. And soon, that obsession would take a dark and deadly turn. As investigators pored over security footage from Jordan High School, they noticed something alarming. At 12:30 p.m., cameras captured Kelton Fox suddenly snatching Tiara Hall's phone from her hands and sprinting out of the school. Without hesitation, Tiara ran after him, completely unaware that she was walking into a trap. Kelton didn't just run anywhere. He led her toward an abandoned house, an eerie and isolated location where, just a day later, her lifeless body would be found. About 20 minutes later, at 12:40 p.m., a neighbor's security camera recorded Kelton walking back alone. Tiara was nowhere to be seen. Kelton then re-entered the school, heading straight for the restroom. Observing his movements, detectives noticed something strange. When he went in, his hands were hidden in his sleeves. When he came out, his hands were uncovered. Then, just minutes later, Kelton approached a teacher and asked to leave school, claiming he felt sick. His unsuspecting mother picked him up, completely unaware of the horrific crime he had just committed. Now, investigators had a prime suspect, but they needed solid evidence to directly tie Kelton to Tiara's murder. A search of the school restroom revealed traces of blood near the trash can. Forensic testing confirmed the worst: it was Tiara's. Detectives then searched Kelton's home, where they found blood-stained sneakers hidden in his room. A disturbing journal filled with dark, obsessive thoughts about Tiara. Among the most chilling entries, Kelton documented his growing obsession, his jealousy, and his violent fantasies. But the most horrifying discovery? A phrase scrawled across the pages: King K the Savage. The same words spray-painted at the crime scene. Further entries in the journal contained even more disturbing confessions, references to an uncontrollable lust, an obsession with Tiara, and thoughts that had twisted into something deadly. With all this damning evidence, there was no doubt left. Kelton had planned Tiara's murder, fueled by his dangerous fixation. Now it was just a matter of ensuring he would face justice. When confronted by police, Kelton initially denied leaving school that day. But investigators had already seen the surveillance footage. There was no room for lies. With overwhelming evidence against him, Kelton was arrested and charged with Tiara's murder. The news of his arrest sent shockwaves through the community. The idea that someone who had once seemed so respectful and mild-mannered could be capable of such a brutal crime was hard to accept. But behind his polite facade was a deeply disturbed young man whose obsession had turned deadly. More than 3 years after Tiara Hall's tragic murder, her killer, Kelton Fox, finally stood in court in June 2018 to face justice. In a quiet, emotionless voice, Kelton pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. His defense attorneys argued that, because of his young age and mental health struggles, he should receive a lenient sentence. They painted a picture of a troubled teen who made a terrible mistake rather than a calculated murderer. But the prosecution strongly disagreed. Prosecutors laid out a chilling timeline of events. Kelton stole Tiara's phone to lure her toward an abandoned house. He knew she would chase him, leading her straight into his trap. Around this time, Kelton had allegedly discovered that Tiara had moved on with another boy. Consumed by jealousy and rage, he made a horrifying decision: if he couldn't have Tiara, no one could. The evidence pointed not to an impulsive crime, but to a calculated, deliberate act of murder. Despite the brutal nature of the crime, Kelton Fox was sentenced to only 12 to 15 years in prison, with credit for time served. That meant that with good behavior and parole eligibility, he could be released as early as April 2027, just 12 years after killing Tiara. For Tiara's family and friends, the sentence felt like a slap in the face. Tiara had been stolen from her family forever. She had dreams, ambitions, and a bright future, all destroyed in an instant. Yet, the person who took her life might be free in just a few years. The case sparked public outrage, with many questioning, how could such a brutal and calculated murder result in such a light sentence? For Tiara's loved ones, justice was never truly served. While Kelton Fox may one day walk free, the pain of losing Tiara is a life sentence that her family will carry forever. Please subscribe to the channel to stay updated about the future upload. Thank you for watching another video of Truth and Crimes. Share your thoughts about this heartbreaking case in the comments below. We value your input. We dedicate ourselves to delivering accurate and compelling true crime stories using information from reliable sources. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon with another captivating story.
Mad because I want to go out and make moves, do shit? What? No, hell no. You're mad because I can blast city girls from the car that I own? That's y'all problem. Y'all want a puppet that y'all can control. Well, guess what, bitch? I'm not Pinocchio, so go find you that puppet.
Fans and loved ones are mourning the loss of Philly rapper and influencer Mia Bennett, also known as Petty Levels.
All this college shit, can they give a bitch a breather? About to be a broke bitch after prom season.
According to reports, Bennett was 23 years old and loved by many, 1 million followers on Instagram, and she had just posted this picture 1 week ago. Her cause of death hasn't been released just yet.
Mia Bennett, also known as Petty Levels, wasn't just another social media star. She was a force of nature who lit up Philadelphia's music scene with her raw talent and magnetic personality. Through her mesmerizing freestyle rap videos, she didn't just gather followers. She built a community of over 1 million people who connected with her authentic spirit and undeniable charisma on Instagram. The news that shattered hearts came on July 19, 2024, when Mia was found dead in Tampa, Florida. At just 23, her vibrant light was extinguished far too soon. When Tampa Police Department officers responded to the call near the airport in northwest Tampa, they confirmed everyone's worst fears: it was indeed Mia. While early reports have indicated no signs of foul play, the Hillsborough County Medical Examiner's Office continues their careful investigation into what caused this devastating loss. In their time of unimaginable grief, Mia's family has shown remarkable grace, asking only for the space to process their pain and for people to resist spreading rumors about her passing. They, like everyone else who loved Mia, are still waiting for answers. The heartbreaking announcement from her label, Chosen One Records, opened the floodgates of grief across social media, where countless fans and fellow artists shared their memories of Mia. She lived life on her own terms, chasing thrills through skydiving and surfing, all while building her music career with hits like Ain't It and Malibu. Her collaboration with Fredo Bang and Latto on Freak showed just how far her star had risen. As the investigation continues, authorities await crucial autopsy and toxicology reports that might shed light on this tragic loss. While they've ruled out foul play, the mystery of what happened to this bright young talent continues to weigh heavily on the hearts of all who knew and loved her.
If I could, I see everything that I couldn't see. I ain't believe what they was telling me.
Before diving into this story, we want to take a moment to extend our heartfelt condolences to the friends, family, and loved ones of Mia Bennett. This devastating loss has left an irreplaceable void in the lives of those who knew and cherished her. This story takes us to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a city famously known as the City of Brotherly Love, celebrated for its rich history and iconic landmarks like the Liberty Bell and Independence Hall. Amidst the vibrant culture and historical significance of this city, the journey of Mia Bennett, widely recognized as Petty Levels, began and unfolded in a way that captivated thousands. Mia Bennett was a 23-year-old social media influencer and musician whose talent and charisma propelled her to prominence. She captured hearts and attention through her engaging freestyle rap videos and her fearless, adventurous lifestyle, carving out a unique space for herself in the world of entertainment and social media. She was born and raised in Philadelphia. Mia Bennett discovered her passion early in life. During her freshman year of high school, she created her Instagram account, Petty Levels, which quickly garnered attention thanks to her unique content and charismatic personality. Today, with over 1 million followers, Mia's social media presence became a remarkable blend of humor, wit, and relatability. Her posts often showcased her dancing, exploring exotic locations such as Mexico, Puerto Rico, and Jamaica, and diving headfirst into extreme sports like skydiving and snowboarding. Her fearless, adventurous spirit and infectious energy resonated with a broad audience, earning her a devoted following and making her a beloved figure in the social media world. We post true crime stories and strange cases. If this interests you, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your support means a lot and helps us continue sharing this content. In 2018, Mia began evolving from a social media influencer into a budding musician. She released short rap videos that quickly gained traction. Her lyrics, often infused with humor and relatability, struck a powerful chord with young women. Through her music, she explored topics like love, relationships, and social dynamics with a playful yet captivating style that set her apart and cemented her growing reputation as an artist. Mia's talent for sparking reactions was a cornerstone of her identity as Petty Levels. She thrived on engaging with her audience, evident in both her music and social media posts. Her music career included notable collaborations such as with rapper Latto and a feature on Freak by Fredo Bang. Mia also released her own tracks, including Malibu and AIT. Despite initial nerves about pursuing music, she was determined to succeed, firmly believing her name would one day dominate billboards and playlists worldwide. In a 2019 interview with Ec-rt TV, Mia confidently shared her aspirations, saying, "Just know that Petty Levels will not just be an Instagram name. Sooner or later it will be on the billboards, on your playlists, on the radio. It will be everywhere you go." Her artistry and the conversations she sparked left a lasting impact on her community and beyond. However, Mia's promising life took a tragic and unexpected turn. On July 19, 2023, at just 23 years old, Mia Bennett was found dead in Tampa, Florida, under mysterious circumstances that remain under investigation. That afternoon, Tampa Police Department officers responded to a report of a deceased individual in the 4000 block of Boy Scout Boulevard at approximately 1:30 p.m. Upon arrival, they discovered Mia's lifeless body. Initial police assessments showed no immediate signs of foul play, though the investigation continues. The Hillsborough County Medical Examiner's Office has yet to release the cause and manner of her death, pending further inquiries. Mia's untimely passing has fueled widespread speculation and rumors, especially on social media. Some falsely claim she was killed in her hometown of Philadelphia, while others suggested she died by suicide after discovering she was HIV positive. One post read, "Petty Levels took her life because a man gave her HIV. Protect yourself from these men. Depression is real, don't let them drag you down. Rest in peace." Despite these baseless allegations, no evidence supports such claims. Mia's family quickly addressed the rumors, urging the public for privacy and understanding during their time of grief. They stated, "The rumors and comments circulating are false. We don't know what happened ourselves, so we're asking everyone to be patient and considerate. Our family is heartbroken." News of Mia's death broke on social media, leaving her fans and loved ones grappling with the shocking loss of a young woman whose talent, energy, and charisma had touched so many lives. On Wednesday, July 24, 2023, the news of Mia Bennett's passing sent shockwaves through her extensive fan base, sparking an immediate outpouring of grief and confusion.
Fans and loved ones are mourning the loss of Philly rapper and influencer Mia Bennett, also known as Petty Levels. The news shared in an Instagram post by her record label, Chosen One Records. According to reports, Bennett was 23 years old and loved by many, 1 million followers on Instagram, and she had just posted this picture 1 week ago. Her cause of death hasn't been released just yet. We reached out to law enforcement and her family for more information.
Heartbroken fans flooded her last social media post with heartfelt messages, sharing their sorrow and reminiscing about how her videos had touched their lives. Her record label, Chosen One Records, confirmed the devastating news with a somber post. "We regret to inform you of the passing of our little sis." The announcement was met with widespread sadness, as tributes poured in from both fans and prominent figures in the music industry. Rapper Ometa shared her condolences, commenting on Mia's final Instagram post with the words, "This is so sad," accompanied by a broken heart emoji, encapsulating the grief felt by many. As the news of her untimely death spread, speculation arose about the circumstances leading to it. Some fans suggested she may have taken her own life, pointing to cryptic messages in her final Instagram post. The post featured a haunting book title, "Kill Me Tomorrow," and a brief yet poignant caption, "Fleeting." Adding to the speculation, someone claiming to be her aunt commented on the post, asking for prayers and emphasizing the family's need for time to heal from the sudden loss. Mia Bennett's tragic death has also brought attention to the immense pressures and mental health challenges faced by social media influencers and artists. Behind her vibrant online persona, a glamorous lifestyle filled with travel, adventure, and success, lay struggles that often remain unseen by the public. Her passing serves as a stark reminder of the emotional toll that can come with life in the spotlight. In the aftermath of her passing, Mia's fans have come together to honor her legacy. Through heartfelt messages, tributes, and shared memories, they celebrate the joy and inspiration she brought into their lives with her music, humor, and adventurous spirit. Her fans, family, and the community at large cling to the hope that ongoing investigations will shed more light on the circumstances surrounding her death, bringing some measure of closure to an unimaginable loss. Even without all the answers, the impact Mia left on those who followed her journey is undeniable. Her creativity, resilience, and vibrant energy have left a lasting mark, reminding everyone of the power of self-expression and the importance of lifting others up. Her legacy lives on through the music she created, the videos that inspired millions, and the message she left behind. A call to value authenticity, kindness, and empathy in both our online and offline interactions. As the world reflects on the life and loss of Petty Levels, her message of resilience and self-expression remains a powerful testament to her enduring influence. The life of Taiisha Starks, a vibrant 22-year-old mother from Clarksville, Tennessee, was cut tragically short on February 20, 2023.
We don't get no justice. Y'all don't get no peace.
What should have been a routine custody exchange for her young son turned into an unimaginable nightmare when she was fatally shot by the child's paternal grandfather in Madison County.
Jackson, Tennessee family desperate for justice, taking their demands to the district attorney's office. They want the person who they say killed a young mother arrested.
They say that person is someone the family knows all too well. WRG's April Thompson has more on the twist in this case and why officials say they have more investigating to do.
That fateful day on Harpeth Drive forever changed the lives of those who loved Taiisha. When Madison County deputies arrived at the scene, they found the young mother had already succumbed to her gunshot wounds, leaving behind a devastated family and a young son who would grow up without his mother's love. The pain of Taiisha's loss has only been compounded by what her family sees as a lack of justice. Determined to seek justice for Taiisha, her family launched a multifaceted campaign. They created a GoFundMe page to help cover mounting legal expenses and to support their efforts to secure custody of Taiisha's son. The story of Taiisha's tragic death has resonated with many, spreading across social media platforms, particularly TikTok, where her story has touched countless hearts and raised awareness about her case. The Culpable podcast further amplified her story in an episode released on May 17, 2024, bringing deeper attention to the circumstances surrounding her death. This devastating story takes place in Jackson, Tennessee, a vibrant city in the heart of West Tennessee. Taiisha Korea Starks was born and raised in Jackson, Tennessee. Her parents, Tarsha Harris and Philip Starks, were overjoyed to welcome her into their family. She grew up with a close bond to her brother and cherished being surrounded by friends and family. Taiisha was a vibrant young woman who loved singing, dancing, cheering, and enjoying life with her loved ones. A talented and driven student, Taiisha graduated with honors from Haywood High School in 2018. During her high school years, she was a basketball cheerleader for the Haywood Tomcats and actively participated in other extracurricular activities. These experiences helped her build lasting friendships and strong connections with her peers. After high school, Taiisha pursued higher education at Austin Peay State University, where she majored in biology with the dream of becoming a dentist. She was deeply dedicated to her studies and determined to create a bright future for herself and her son. Taiisha's one-year-old child, Tansitan Curry, was the light of her life. She adored her baby and worked hard to provide him with a loving and nurturing environment. Taiisha met Bryce Allen Curry, the father of her child, while attending school. Their relationship would eventually lead to the bitter custody dispute that culminated in the tragic events of that fateful day. The relationship between Taiisha Starks and Bryce Allen Curry began to deteriorate shortly after the birth of their son, Tansitan. The couple frequently argued and struggled to co-parent effectively. Eventually, they agreed on a custody arrangement. Bryce would care for Tansitan from Mondays to Wednesdays, while Taiisha would have him the rest of the week. As a college student at Austin Peay State University in Clarksville, Tennessee, Taiisha tried to balance her education with her responsibilities as a mother. On February 20, 2023, a Monday, she dropped Tansitan off at Bryce's home in Jackson, Tennessee, where he lived with his parents. Following the drop-off, Taiisha drove 2 hours back to Clarksville to attend school. Later that day, while at school, Taiisha received a call from Bryce. He told her she needed to find someone else to look after Tansitan because he had class the next day. This upset Taiisha, as it was Bryce's responsibility to care for their son on Mondays. She had already missed an entire semester of classes during her pregnancy and was determined not to fall behind again. Still, as a devoted mother, she couldn't bear the thought of her child being left without proper care. After some back and forth, Bryce suggested that Taiisha's mother, Tarsha Harris, come to pick up Tansitan. However, Tarsha was unavailable due to work. Realizing she had no other option, Taiisha decided to make the 2-hour drive back to Jackson. She brought along a friend and upon arriving in the city, picked up another friend, Nadia, who lived near Bryce's house. Concerned about potential conflict, Taiisha asked Nadia to record the exchange. Nadia also gave her a stun gun for protection, just in case things escalated. When they arrived at Bryce's house, Taiisha knocked on the door. Bryce's father, Tilis Curry, answered. According to Tilis, Taiisha was aggressive and told him to shut up during their argument. However, Taiisha's friends who were watching and recording from nearby had a different account of events. At some point during the heated exchange, Tilis retreated inside the house. Moments later, he returned with a gun and opened fire on Taiisha, hitting her 5 times. Despite her injuries, Taiisha managed to stagger back to her car. She attempted to drive away but collided with a mailbox just a few feet from the house. There, she succumbed to her injuries.
She told him shut the up. Then she was in the yard and he was at his door. He never stepped on the porch. And so when she said that, he got mad and the door had shut for protection because they were talking earlier that morning, they was already calling her and threatening her.
Police were called to the scene and an investigation was conducted. However, to the dismay of Taiisha's friends and family, no arrests were made. The lack of accountability left her loved ones devastated and questioning how such a tragic and avoidable incident could go unpunished. Madison County Sheriff's Office about the case, press release saying, the disturbance escalated and witnesses corroborated that Ms. Starks arrived with a stun gun and was actively arching the device when she was shot. The Sheriff's Office confirmed that all the information regarding Taiisha Starks' death had been handed over to the District Attorney's Office. They stated that any comments or final decisions regarding charges would have to come from the DA.
The Madison County Sheriff's Office sent us a press release saying the disturbance escalated and witnesses corroborated that Ms. Starks arrived with a stun gun and was actively arching the device when she was shot. They told us all information has been turned over to the District Attorney's Office.
I have no authority over DA's office or the Sheriff's Department, but I can ask questions, and so that's what I'm going to do.
Madison County District Attorney Jody Pickens, when contacted, stated that no decision had yet been made on whether charges would be filed. This lack of progress prompted Taiisha's family to protest in search of justice. Following the tragic incident, Bryce and his parents relocated to Texas, taking Tansitan, Taiisha's son, with them. Taiisha's family was not allowed to see the child, which added to their grief. Taiisha's mother, Tarsha Harris, spoke out publicly about the situation, especially her concerns over the fact that the same man who had killed her daughter, Tilis Curry, was now helping to care for her grandson.
I'm upset because my daughter was murdered, senseless killing. He knew the days that he was supposed to be keeping my grandson. My daughter had just dropped him off that Monday morning. He called her in an irate state, stating that he was not going to be able to keep my grandson, and he knew that she was in class. So she went back to get her baby. For them to have a gun, I feel like that was all planned. They did not have to do this to my daughter. She had her whole future ahead of her.
Taiisha Starks' family has been vocal and unwavering in their pursuit of justice. Frustrated by the lack of progress in the case, they organized protests to demand answers and accountability for her tragic death. Their grief was compounded by the knowledge that no charges had been filed, despite the heartbreaking circumstances of her killing. The protests were not just about seeking justice for Taiisha but also about highlighting the systemic issues surrounding gun violence and the lack of accountability in similar cases. Taiisha's loved ones, supported by community members, carried signs, chanted for justice, and called on authorities to take action. Her mother, Tarsha Harris, became a key voice in the movement, often speaking out about the pain of losing her daughter and the unbearable reality of being separated from her grandson. The family's protests served as a powerful reminder of their determination to ensure that Taiisha's story would not be forgotten and that her death would not go unanswered. Their efforts aimed to spark change not only for their family but for other families seeking justice in the face of tragedy. In the wake of Taiisha Starks' tragic death, her family launched a GoFundMe campaign to help cover funeral expenses and provide support for her young son. The campaign became a way for friends, family, and the community to come together and honor her memory. Donations poured in from people moved by her story, offering financial relief to her grieving family and demonstrating the community's solidarity in their fight for justice. The funds also aimed to help Taiisha's son, ensuring he could have a stable future despite the heartbreaking loss of his mother.
We just want some answers. It's been 2 months, and we still haven't heard anything. They haven't called us to let us know, how the investigation going.
After months of tension, the two families eventually came to an agreement, allowing Tarsha to see Tansitan briefly. Tarsha shared her emotional reaction to the visit. Happy is an understatement right now. First and foremost, I have to thank God for what He has allowed to transpire this morning. After a rough 4 months of crying, praying, fasting, and crying again, God saw fit to touch their hearts and allow me to see and spend time with my grandbaby. I am overjoyed at the moment and can't really put into words how excited I am to see him. This is just another sign from God that He has everything in control and has already worked it out in my favor. I will continue to hold on and be steadfast. Thank you all again. We sincerely hope the truth surrounding this heartbreaking case comes to light soon. Our deepest and heartfelt condolences go out to the family and friends of Taiisha Starks. May her memory serve as a blessing and source of comfort to her loved ones, and may her life and tragic death inspire a call for justice and greater protection for survivors of gun violence. Please subscribe to the channel to stay updated about the future upload. Thank you for watching another video of Truth and Crimes. Share your thoughts about this heartbreaking case in the comments below. We value your input. We dedicate ourselves to delivering accurate and compelling true crime stories using information from reliable sources. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you soon with another captivating story.